the Prime Minister, something which represented a break from the past, as we understand about Renaissance, something like a break from the past, but also something which was something really new. It was rebirth, revival. So, in all that sense, the last 10 years, I would say, is an amalgamation of the word Renaissance. So, I felt it was a more fitting title to the book.
And but going beyond the Renaissance is the whole aura of the Prime Minister, because it is the Modi decade. We've had the UPA years. We never had the Manmohan Singh decade.
Yes.
After a long time we've had
point.
one Prime Minister's personality. So a bit about the Prime Minister himself.
It is an interesting point that you made now, which I have just realized right now, that we had 10 years of UPA, but we did not have a Manmohan Singh decade. Yes, you're right about that. It's the Modi decade, and for as long as he's going to be Prime Minister, so it will be his decades. But because it is the single most defining aspect of the politics of the country in that sense. And I would say the Prime Minister kind of is he's not like any other Prime Minister. I would say you had Prime Ministers like Indira Gandhi, Nehru, who came who are almost in that kind of a thing in terms of the popularity, in terms of their reach, in terms of their impact, I would say. And it is quite impactful. I think the idea behind this was a public gathering at the BJP headquarters that I had witnessed, where the Prime Minister had come to address the party cadres after they had won one of the elections, state elections. And it's just his communication style and other things made me, I think, conscious of the fact that something like this needed to be built up.
Okay, let's start at the beginning. In fact, this book में एक chapter भी है where she's written about Prime Minister Modi dismantling a legacy. तो Prime Minister Modi, how did he get the BJP to this thing? और उनको क्या सबसे बड़ा challenge था कि आपको लगता है कि वो अपने ही strength पे आए, या he came because it was such an anti-incumbency, negative vote पे आए या positive vote पे आए?
I would say a large part of it had to do with the anti-incumbency of the UPA. People were, by 2012, were fed up, but also some part of it had to do with how what was happening internal to the BJP in 2009, which I talk about in my book also. After BJP lost the 2009 elections under L.K. Advani, there were obviously a lookout within the party for a leader who could kind of be having this appeal sort of. And since Prime Minister, as Chief Minister of Gujarat, his influence extended beyond the state. It just made sense for the BJP to come up with someone who had a certain kind of visibility, which he did have a great deal nationally in that sense. So they were not going to miss 2014 for a lack of a better leader. So I think they put their best foot forward, and their best foot forward in kind of winning the 2014 elections was Narendra Modi. The 10 years of UPA was certainly an important factor, but also the fact that they had a leader who could kind of pick on that narrative. It's also about Mr. Modi's ability to weave a narrative, which he successfully weaved after 2013, as there was need for change, and there was a need for a very strong leader, and and you've had references to him talking about a very strong leader globally who could talk about India at the West. So I would say it also had to do with the fact that he understood that, and the party understood that he could weave that narrative, which was an all-encompassing narrative, to take on the UPA, which was reeling under a lot of contradictions.
Fair enough. But when he first came, dismantling a narrative, when you set something new, there is a destruction, then there is a construction. You have to create the vacuum. So ये जो destruction हुआ था, how did he go about it? एक तो जैसे कि नामदार versus कामदार. The whole Gandhi legacy, the whole holdover they had on the public imagination, how did he go about it?
I think he appealed to the common man, because of his obviously humble roots, and he said that I was just not a Gandhi, but I am a Modi who has come from very humble origins, just like everyone else. So he appealed to the larger popular imagination of the people. He said that I was not something with a legacy. I was someone who came to challenge, and to challenge that legacy. And he captured the imagination of a large cross section of the people who thought likewise, who were also thinking, why legacy? And there was a social change, and that, as a historian, I feel a similar social change had taken place in the 60s and 70s when the other castes in UP had started challenging the Congress system. When you had Mulayam Singh Yadav and Lalu Prasad Yadav and Kashi Ram challenging the Congress system. What about other people? What about other representation about other people? So I think the Prime Minister captured that sentiment that it is important to kind of build a narrative, and the narrative was that of a common man. Whether he said he owned the tag of a chaiwala, very bold. In a bold manner, and he took on the point. The opposition would fire salvos on him and he would just add to his strength. I still remember when Mani Shankar Iyer called him a chai wala, he just picked.
आजकल देखते हैं, if you see visiting cards, one side is in English, the other side is in Hindi, and the Hindi card is works more. Yes. Number plates are in Hindi and Gujarati hoy to fir mashallah, that's like the biggest power center. So he's changed a lot of what we call markers of power.
Yeah. I think Priya, he said that that's why I say dismantling. He dismantled the idea that English was the way forward because a large cross section of the people do speak vernacular languages. It could be Hindi, it could be scores of other vernacular languages, whether it's Gujarati, Marathi, Kannada, or Telugu, Tamil. So he Bengali. He kind of appealed to a large cross section of the people that be comfortable in the language. And if I go out, whether you have a Putin or you have a Macron or someone like that, they speak their own language. Putin is always conversing in Russian whenever he's traveling abroad. So the Prime Minister said, I don't need to converse with people in India or abroad or globally or with big leaders. I'll be conversing with them in my language. That was a big shift from the past. And that was kind of embracing your linguistic identity also, no? So he's as comfortable in Hindi as he was in Gujarati and even in English to a certain extent. But he made one point of language his communication point. Like I've always strained myself to understand as to why Putin continues to speak in Russian when he knows English very well. But he does. So I think it appeals to a large cross section of the people.
Basically, to take off from what you're saying, he brought back a pride in being Indian, in the Indian language, Indian dress, Indian customs, festivals. Suddenly, being Indian, just like at the book launch, which as I said earlier, Amit Shah had come, he told us a very interesting narrative. शायद आपको याद होगा when he said कि मैं जब गुजरात से दिल्ली आ रहा था तो फिर I started to learn हिंदी, तो मैंने गुजराती न्यूज़पेपर लिया और उसकी मैं हिंदी में ट्रांसलेशन कर रहा था. Every day I used to translate one newspaper into Hindi. So people ask me कि why don't you do it English instead of Hindi? तो he said मुझे तो हिंदी English समझ आती है, but if anybody wants to understand me, they better learn Hindi. Yeah. So that's the language.
If you know, Priya, there was this movie, and I'm reminded of that movie called Hindi Medium, by Irfan Khan, and it was a wonderful movie about why you need to fit in and the pressure of fitting in on young people about mastering English is immense, if you understand. So I think the Prime Minister and for example even Akhilesh Yadav speaks in Hindi. And you have a huge band of leaders who are now largely conversing in Hindi. Yogi Adityanath converses in Hindi. You have Devendra Fadnavis who speaks in Marathi. So we are seeing a change, a shift in politics. Brand of leaders coming in who speak their own language and they are comfortable. They'll communicate in the language they're comfortable with. So to a large, young, impressionable audience, the message they are sending is be comfortable in the language you are born with, whatever is your mother tongue, be comfortable with it. And I think that's a big change.
So that is the other thing the book talks about, the cultural renaissance.
Yeah.
India se Bharat. That's what Modi has done.
I would say a large part of that had to do with being like you had something like a Carter Road, or you had a you had Rajpath, and these were, a lot of them had colonial titles and roads and this and that.
King George ka statue.
Yeah, or Racecourse Road. Kab tak we will be sticking with King George statue, or I saw the old Parliament building, a portion of it. You have to accommodate the needs of New India, and you need a new Parliament building for it. You need to celebrate your own icons. Why do you need George V statue as it to constantly remind you that you were colonized? I think everyone knows it in some form or the other. I think the debate over language, our skin color, obsession with a certain this is all about a colonial hangover, and it's about time that you become comfortable with that.
That's the other thing that we spoke about at the book launch and in your book, is the pride in being Indian has come back. And he's saying it's not just in us, but when we go to the Yashwant Deshmukh ne shayad
Yes.
kaha tha. Tell us what he said.
He said that when he travels to Dubai and or going through any airport and immigration,